All right, time being 7:01, I will call the meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Iverson.
Here.
Schatzinger.
Here.
Hanson.
Here.
Gallops. Kane.
Here.
Gotsky.
Here.
Sorensen.
Here.
Split.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which
it stands, one nation, under God,
with liberty.
indivisible.
In the absence of a clergy member, I invite us all in a moment of reflection as hopefully we can open our hearts and minds to each other and to lead this incredible city. Let's be now in a moment of silence. Thank you.
All right, and we have Attorney Wirtz joining us by Zoom here.
Oh, that's who.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay.
All right, is there a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
So move.
Second.
By Howard, seconded by Page. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is approved. I don't see anyone here for public comment tonight. So we will move on past that. Next is accepting informal reports from standing committees and staff. Would there be a motion to approve this as published?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by John, second by Doug. Any discussion, or would anyone like to pull any of the reports to discuss? Hearing no discussion. All those in favor of approving these reports, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? As approved. Next item is consent calendar. Only one item, common council minutes from October 6th, 11th, and 24th. Is there a motion to approve consent calendar?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Ellen, seconded by Doug. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of approving the consent calendar, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? As approved. All right, time is now 7:04. I will open the public hearing for the proposed City of Ripon 2023 budget and tax levy. Adam, do you want to give any updates on this while we give the public a few minutes to come in and comment?
So included in your packet is the final draft of the budget with the updated summary budget publication on the front end of it all. The tax levy and everything remained the same. The only change that we would call attention to that has been made in the budget would be the correct number was received from the fire district for the dues for, or the tax allocation for the year. So that number dropped our projection by about $1,541. Yeah, 1514, yep. So then that was actually then left over and allocated to Parks and Rec spending to a line item there for office equipment and other equipment. So we just moved that to Parks and Rec to just throw a little bit more money into that budget item. Other than that, the budget remained unchanged, and from the last conversations, last distribution, the overall tax rate remained, or tax levy is in the resolution at $3,819,409. That equates to a mill rate of $8.90. So that is an increase from $8.53. From the standpoint of past years, it was $8.53, $8.73, $8.90. So we're back to where we were a couple years ago. We had projected it and wanted it to be under $9. We are under that, but that is where we are. in the overall budget. And those are the only two changes that have been made.
We'll give the public one more minute if anyone decides to show up. Council will have time to discuss this in our next action item, so this section is just for the public. All right, time is now 7:08. As there's no one from the public here, I will close the public comment, or public hearing for the 2023 budget. And we will move into our agenda items. First item is the resolution and adopting of the budget, appropriating funds, authorizing expenditures, and levying a tax for fiscal year ending December 31st, 2023. Is there a motion for this budget?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Been moved by Doug, seconded by Howard. Discussion. Questions, comments? John?
How much is in the Park and Rec line item that goes for equipment? Or is there another line that says equipment that I missed?
So there is equipment, there's $10,000 in the line item for equipment, as well as there's $1,000 in operating supplies and small equipment. So that's on page 32 of your packets, or of your budget. That would be approximately what is in the budget for that. There's additional funds in the capital improvement for Murray Park to continue on with the trail. I believe there's 100,000, or let me just look at it quick here to make sure I have the right number.
It's 100,000, yeah.
100,000. Okay, my memory worked. Surprisingly. So those would be the two main highlights there for Parks and Rec.
I just think with that master plan that we got last week, we got that, everything's laid out. I think still think we're putting the cart in front of the horse by hiring somebody without getting equipment and trails and kayak launches and things like that, parking lots paved before we hire somebody.
Well, one of the jobs of this person will be to do the planning for these projects and oversee them.
But it's already planned with the master plan.
The master plan gives us the idea and the blueprint.
We have a park and rec.
We do not have the exact plan for execution.
Correct, but we have a park and rec committee who could work with DPW to, okay, Park and Rec says, let's buy the gazebo, DPW maybe constructs the gazebo in the park. I think that money is much better spent that way first, as opposed to hiring somebody to tell somebody what to do, especially in this economy right now.
Is that a comment or is there a motion in there?
I would like to make a motion that we take the money that's slated for the hiring of the Park and Rec director and use it for park equipment.
Is there a second to that motion?
The motion can't be entertained. We have a motion on the floor.
This would,
So it would have to be
this would be,
to
a
amend.
this would be a motion to amend the budget, which would be an order
Right.
this time.
Have to be accepted by the mover and the seconder. Or you gotta revote.
No, nobody's, I don't know if anybody.
Could,
Motion on the floor is to adopt the budget as written.
Howard for the budget? Doug, and then seconded by Howard.
Seconded by me.
Would you like to rescind your motion so we can entertain this discussion?
No.
All right. So the motion is out of order. Are there any other questions or comments?
I could make another comment.
Okay.
We gave our city workers a 3% raise, 8% inflation, so they actually lost 5%. And that goes to everybody in the entire country. But I feel that this money, by hiring somebody or a park and rec director, is kind of a kick in the stomach for our city workers, because all this talk the last 4 or 5 years that they're underpaid, now we create another position, and we still don't necessarily get our city workers up to the pay level that should be. This money could have, I would have rather seen this money used for a higher pay raise for our city workers. That's just my comments.
Ellen?
Typically, if you want to look at the totality of employees here and their wages, we would hire a consulting firm to do a study on comparables for like cities, so that we're not willy-nilly giving increases or holding people steady until we would have a consulting report on where we are with our comparables.
And I think we did that.
We did that a couple years
Yeah, a
ago.
couple years ago.
And
We
what-
didn't- I don't think we hired a consultant. I think
No, that was
the
done
city
internally.
administrator did it.
Well,
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, you need to hire a professional to do it. You do not need a city administrator doing it. You need to hire a consulting firm who has that skill set.
I'll just take a step back, and there have been multiple wage studies that I have participated in over the last year and a half. Regionally, statewide, I have a lot of information. What I can say from an overall perspective, the majority of our positions are paid comparably to our peers at this point, if not above. There are strategic positions that haven't been, that we will try to address over time. But the way to do it is, the best way to do it is frankly to have a wage study done. The downside of that is it costs money to do it. The bigger downside is if you find out something is off, why did you just do the wage study? You got to back it up and then give people raises. So I certainly, if there's a direction we want to go with a wage study, I have information that I can share that shows you what we've participated in to take it to a next level. We could probably find money allocated in certain areas in the budget to do a wage study if that's the goal of the council. But that would be for effect next year. I think we have done a job in this budget to bring up some of the public safety salary wages to a more appropriate level. And then through basically increased step pay, we have been able to keep wages in line and make sure that people within our organization, their peers directly in the organization, are paid equitably and equally. So right now, I would say overall the organization is in a very good spot from what we do pay, although it may be under. You can always pay people more. Everybody wants to be paid more. But from the data that we have reviewed and we have participated in with 3 or 4 wage studies, we are in line right now. What we were not in line on is our healthcare costs. That was way, way, way out of line. So we have reined that back within this budget by moving to the state health plan.
And so there's a net increase for the employees who aren't paying huge amounts more.
They will be paying more based on the state health plan because there'll be an increased cost share.
Okay.
The difference is the quality of the plan and the opportunity to choose a network.
So the out-of-pocket could reduce costs for the employee.
And over time, it will reduce costs. It may be 1 year of increase beyond what they're paying now, but as the surcharge moves off of the state health plan, it comes more in line with, really affordable care compared to what we are paying now.
Yeah, because it's not just wages, it's that balance between what they get for benefits and the cost of health care too. And those always have to be considered when you're doing a wage, when you're doing a wage study. Plus, do we have a step system here?
We have tiers.
You have tiers. So if you do a professional wage study, you look at the tiers and then you look at our comparables to see where we are, and then you can be readjusting all sorts of things. But I'm sorry, Mr. Adam, but I oversaw a wage study for Marinette County. It's not something that I would have ever assumed I had the skill set for as an administrator. So I would suggest if this is the way you want to go, that we hire a professional firm to do it in the next year or so.
Any other questions or comments?
I'll just add that I know we already moved to approve the Parks and Rec, and so tonight is not about that with the entire budget, but I will just say that since it has been approved, I've had people in the community say that they're really glad that we're moving in this direction. So, one little sort of example that I'll give about equipment is that there's a park in the community that had a outdoor volleyball, sand volleyball, and that was removed, and some play equipment was put on that. But the point is, it was removed because it wasn't being used. So at some point, someone thought it would be worth putting in a volleyball with sand and everything. But for me, that shows that you can put in something, but if you don't have someone to organize tournaments, how it's used, sometimes that doesn't necessarily make a difference. So I think it's really exciting to think that we will have a visionary that will think about how to engage our community in a healthy way and how we can utilize equipment. And ideally, a person in this role can bring in some funding, perhaps some future grant writing and things like that, that simply gazebo is unable to do. So I think I'm really grateful to see in this budget, and I've been hearing positive things, that this is part of the budget for this next year, and I thought it was just worth stating out loud.
Anyone else? All right, so the motion on the floor is to approve the budget as published. If the council so chooses to go back and make adjustments to the budget, you should vote no to this motion, and we can go back and discuss. Voting yes would approve as published. Do we want a roll call vote for this one?
Yes.
Iverson?
Yes.
Schatzinger?
Yes.
Hanson?
Yes.
Kane?
Yes.
Gotsky?
Yes.
Sorensen?
Yes.
Split?
No.
Motion carries 6-1.
Thank you. All right, so our next item is ordinance chapter 17.28, sewer use charges and amounts. And that's the paperwork here. And, okay, here we go. So this would be repealing and recreating the current ordinance, I believe.
Correct.
Yes.
The current ordinance is a lot of language spelling out in detail every single specific charge for sewer rates. So what it does is it says, Class A customers are charged X amount of dollars per this and X amount of dollars per that. What this does is it takes it and just says, the unit cost and sewer service charges shall be set by the Ripon Common Council by resolution to be adopted annually before December 15th every year. So it takes that direct language out of the ordinance, so you don't have to do an ordinance change every time you want to raise a rate or reduce a rate. It just sort of simplifies it and puts us in a situation where we are, annually reviewing this for the, healthy finances of the utility. So it just kind of makes it less complicated ultimately, and sort of streamlines it. So the next phase would then be the resolution establishing the fees, so that would take the next,
And that would be part of the total city fee schedule?
yes, correct.
I move to accept an ordinance to repeal and recreate Chapter 17.23 of the municipal code.
Point 28.
Point 28.
128, I'm sorry.
I'll second it.
Moved by Ellen, seconded by Jolene. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of repealing and recreating Chapter 17.28, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is approved. All right, next item is a resolution establishing the City of Ripon fee schedule for 2023. And as you can see in your packet, it's very extensive. It should be every single fee that every single department charges,
Sort of.
sort of. Most of it.
Most of it. The ones that we can do without further work.
All the standard fees.
Standard fees. So nothing, again, has changed. Highlights would be, the sewer rates obviously going up. We're looking at 50%, and then the recycling fee up $2.25 per quarter. Beyond that, also EMS fees going to a more streamlined base charge without a ton of medication charges to better line up with our reimbursements. And then, like I said, sewer, water is PSC related, so we have that on here just for ease, but that will not be done without PSC.
So for the water rates, these are our current rates?
Those are our current rates. You are
And
correct.
that can change mid-year with the PSC report?
PSC, we would file a full-blown rate case with the PSC. We've worked on that with the auditors and have it in, so we're waiting to hear what that result comes back at. My assumption is that in early 2023, we'll have a better idea of where that heads. But that is a whole, from the standpoint of rate setting, the PSC sets our rates more than the Common Council. So we work with that through a rate case.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the 2023 rate schedule?
I'll make a motion to accept that.
I'll second.
Moved by Doug, seconded by Paige. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of approving the 2023 rate schedule, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is approved. Next is a resolution of intent to vacate a portion of Tigert Street and to set a public hearing for that process. This would be the portion of Tigert Street that is going through Horner Park.
It's on the map, if you can see it.
I didn't get a map in,
Oh,
It's here. Oh, here.
sorry.
thank you.
It kind of didn't copy well, so I apologize, but
All right.
So from Jackson Street to the,
it
Is that the
cuts
south
off.
side of the
Yep,
bridge?
it cuts off sort of before it enters that other property there, and so there'll be kind of a right-of-way established there, but the entire bridge right-of-way will be vacated. So this just sets the public hearing for next meeting. We'll get you a better map,
Or a map.
or a map.
Yeah, or a map.
At least anything's better.
is a motion to approve this resolution.
I'll make a motion to approve this resolution, subject to spelling correction for the mayor's name.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, wow, look at that.
I don't know who did that. That was Lud, that was you.
Right on.
Everyone always asks me if I'm related to him, but it's not even spelled the same. So, moved by Doug,
Apologize.
seconded by Paige. Any discussion on this?
I got a question, and maybe Howie can help me out. A couple years ago, didn't we vacate part of this already?
No, we did Aiken.
Yeah.
We just did Aiken.
We didn't do the, okay.
No,
all
we
right.
just did
I was
Aiken.
thinking we did something of that,
Yeah.
the bridge or before it, or,
Well, because the bridge was still used as a pedestrian
yeah,
bridge, we didn't vacate it.
okay,
At that time, we just did Aiken Street.
gotcha.
It does have some deja vu vibes to it.
I know we discussed vacating it,
Yeah,
but
maybe
at the
that's
time
what it
we
was.
were contemplating actually rebuilding the
Right.
traffic bridge,
Okay.
so we did not vacate it.
So we're doing a study right now on that area, right? And how the water, and there is a possibility that a bridge could still be built back, right? This is just saying right now we are vacating it, but it's not setting a
The study
long-term
is
precedent.
looking at removing the bridge or removing it and replacing it with a pedestrian bridge, but not a
Right.
traffic bridge,
Right.
nothing for vehicles.
So this resolution is not saying that we may never have a bridge again. We very well could have a bridge. It may be a pedestrian.
But
likely.
if it's a pedestrian bridge, it won't need to be a street.
Right.
It shouldn't be a street.
It just removes the right-of-way, so it basically becomes a open park instead of a park with a right-of-way right through it.
Yeah.
And then if you have a right-of-way right through it, there may be obligations that we have for putting in a bridge to a certain standard. So removing the right-of-way allows probably more flexibility in terms of what kind of bridge can be built if we so choose to ever go that way again. If not, it just becomes a piece of property, not a right-of-way.
And a bigger park.
And this evening, this is just the resolution of intent to vacate and call out a public hearing. So there will be further discussion as to the impact. I think the administrator and the mayor have spelled out very clearly that this still leaves open the possibility of creating a pedestrian bridge, but would limit, unless you put the street back in, any vehicular traffic across that bridge. So, but this is just setting a hearing, which is established by state statute. And I think we've got to wait, it might be even 90 days, so we may have to wait till the new year.
Oh, well, then we have to change the date, Lud. In the
What date do we have out there?
next,
November
the 28th. I didn't know it was 90 days.
Yep, it's longer than that.
Oh, well, then we gotta,
Longer than November. Yep.
we gotta,
Make sure we establish the date. It may not be that long, but I know it's more than that.
so we should set it for,
Why don't we set it for January?
okay. January it is. Is that okay?
I'll amend my motion.
Me too.
Thank you.
I think, do I second that?
So we're setting it for the earliest possible date.
Yeah, make that the motion, because if it can be, I don't have the statute in front of me. Let's make it for the earliest possible date, and then we will call that out by publication.
Would you accept that amendment?
Yes, I'll accept that
Yep.
amendment.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
Any further discussion on this?
Work.
So the current motion on the floor is to approve the resolution of the intent to vacate a portion of Tigert Street and set the public hearing for the earliest possible date, with the exception of changing the spelling of my name to the right name.
Way to go, Lud.
All those in favor,
It wasn't me.
all those in favor of approving this resolution, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is approved. Thank you. All right, then we're up to project updates and staff reports. Suppose we got a lot of department heads in here today. Anything from any of you? No? Naomi?
Well, you know me though. Can I ask a question? Is that
Sure.
time for a question? I mean,
Sure.
it's fall season. You know what I'm going to ask. Can you give an update for the leaf pickup and how long it intends to
The
go?
elephant truck has been doing great.
If I recall, next week is the last week.
Yep, so we did have a truck down on Friday, we got that back up and running, and resumed this week. We completed the third round of the whole community yesterday. And we're back on the next round in each zone today, and they're moving along really well, as most of them came down kind of within 2 weeks there. So we'll get caught up on that as there's less out there. So anticipate another round this week and another round next week, and the end date is the 18th of November, okay? So Monday, the 12th, you need to have the leaves out to the terrace.
Monday's the 14th.
It's 14th, thank you. Wrong year, maybe. The 14th at 7 a.m. to ensure pickup, okay? Anything beyond that, the truck might go through and then they might get put out and they might not get picked up at that point, okay?
So just to clarify, even though the last date is technically the 18th, the last date for a certain address could be the 14th.
It could be, yes. That's why I'm saying
Yep, just
7 a.m. Monday morning, whether you're on the front part of the route or the back part of the route, they need to be out there and available, especially if you're on the front run. So.
Thank you, I get questions about it, so thank you.
Yeah, if we can get them out there, we'll get them picked up.
And thank you for posting all the map updates.
Yep.
That's been,
Lisa does that,
Yeah.
and, you know, they document where they go.
Yeah.
And that helps. While we can't say we're gonna be to your place at this time, you kind of
oh yeah,
got
you
it
guys were
where
on my
it's-
street and we had like that rush of adrenaline
Yeah,
to get it
I
out,
know.
and then you guys left, so.
Sometimes the truck goes by and they're,
Ooh, what a rush, that was phenomenal.
but you can kind of see the where we're going and anticipate
Yeah,
that
that's
a
been
little
very
bit.
helpful.
But 7 a.m. Monday morning, get them out there because they can whip through really quick when there's not as many down.
Yeah,
Thank you, Mike.
love the elephant truck.
And
Naomi?
also keep the gutters, grates clean with the rain we had last week. We had a section up on Scott Street in Stanton that flooded the whole road because the leaves had just fallen and then plugged it in. So if you see a grate that's plugged, clear it.
Don't say it, because I'm afraid somebody's going to say something.
Would you like to give an update on how the election went?
I would. Jolene, I'm beating you to it. So the election went just perfectly fine. I can honestly say I ran myself ragged, but it went really good. We had a large turnout, which everybody should be very proud of. So registered number for the city of Ripon, we have 4,183 residents. The voter turnout was 3,070.
Wow.
So I think that's pretty impressive for the city, and I think we should all be proud and make sure we let everybody know that we had such a great turnout. We had a huge turnout for the college, which was actually really good too. Everybody stayed in a pretty decent mood. Nobody was really, oh my gosh, these lines are so terrible or anything. I mean, everybody seemed to really be working well with us, so I am extremely appreciative, as well as all of our volunteers. But I would like to thank all of our volunteers who helped with the election, because we could not do it without all of our lovely poll workers and staff that help with this huge, huge project.
I'd also like to share that Wisconsin leads the nation in voter turnout for yesterday at nearly 64%. We beat Michigan and Minnesota, who also had high voter turnout in the 60s. But so far, we're leading the nation. And then Fond du Lac County typically also leads the state with voter turnout.
Good. All right, Adam?
Good work. So, just a couple things to highlight coming up at the next meeting. SEH will be here to discuss the facility master planning for this building and Public Works. So that report will be in your packet. There'll be a public hearing regarding taxi rates to talk about increase in the taxi rates that was discussed at the last meeting as well. So that one was not included in the fee
schedule. And then the Director of Public Works position, PAA, Amanda and I have been working with them, and that has been posted as of yesterday. So it is on the city's website and being advertised and recruited. That is all I have.
Thank you. All I want to add is to thank everyone in the community for coming out to vote. That was very good. Thank you. And keeping it civil. We like that. Any questions, comments, or future agenda items from the council? No? All right. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Moved by Paige, seconded by Doug. All those in favor of adjourning, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned at 7:37. Thank you.
Great to see